All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Green White Checker TV. Tonight we have race number 2 of 12 here tonight at Phoenix. Last week we were at Texas with Eric Schaus getting the win. You can see, and because of that win and the bonus points, able to get now holds a 14-point lead over second place Chris Jabot, Charles Johnson in third, Jack Walls in fourth, and Brandon Pasalacqua in fifth in the points. Obviously, still very early on, so a lot will be changing as these races unfold here this evening. So drivers putting down their qualifying laps right now for Phoenix, and then once things get finished up, we will get going with our grid. So just bear with us for just a moment, and we'll get things started in just a little bit. All right, so qualifying has completed. I was trying to figure out what was going on. I think I figured it out. I think I may have mistakenly joined the server as a racer, not as a spectator, so that's why I wasn't able to see some things I was looking for there. That being said, qualifying has completed. You see on the front row, we've got Craig Forsyth in first, Jim Brooks in second. So let's go and pull up our starting grid for tonight's event. So as I mentioned, that front row, Craig Forsyth, Jim Brooks. Then in second row, you got Bud Steele, David Leclerc, Chris Tague, Eric Schaus, Chris Jabot, Charles Johnson. Then in the next group, you got in ninth, you have Todd Merkel, David Patton, AJ Hobson, Benjamin Combs, James Ledford. So as you see, Kyle Brooks, I'm not racing. I joined the server in the wrong way there. I apologize for that. Dwight Plesh in 15th, Michael Spell in 16th. Then 17, you got Don Runkle Jr., John Brill in 18th, and Jason Bridges in 19th. All right, so tonight I am being joined in the booth here by Steve Gottschalk. Steve, I'm glad to have you back in the booth with me here. So I know you've been running some laps around here, and it sounds like you have some really good insight for what we should be expecting to see drivers with the cars, and then what they can do to help them drive maybe a little bit better here tonight.
Hi, Gael. Good to be back. So I took quite a few laps in both the qual and the race setup, and it's going to be a real challenge for these guys because the setup as it is very pushy on exit. Turns in nicely, but anytime you have a setup that's really pushy on exit, it makes it pretty tough on people. And as you wear the tires, or in the draft, it also is more pushy on exit. So I gave it some more rear weight and bumped up the rear anti-roll bar, and that seemed to help a pretty fair amount. I didn't have enough time to test enough to see if I could get all of that push out of it, but I got a fair amount out. So if these guys are playing with their settings, they'll probably do a lot better. Also, one other interesting thing I noticed. It seems like it's pushier off of turn 2 than it is in 3 and 4, which seems like opposite world to me because 3 and 4 is flat.
Yeah, I'll say, well, let's see what we got for tonight. So you see field here getting ready to go, waiting for that green flag. And I'll say one thing, of course, we mentioned the big changes from last season to this season is there are no faster pairs on a track here like Phoenix with the 1 mile, pretty close quartered racing here. That could definitely come into play. As you see, Craig Forsyth immediately gets a pretty good start there, but you saw the 50 of David Leclerc. He had a really good start, and it was actually pretty close there between that 76 and the 131 entering turns 1 and 2. Now they start to single out just a little bit here, and again, that draft's going to be critical as we complete our first lap here. So Craig Forsyth able to sneak away now a little bit. Again, clean air is going to be king, I feel like, tonight. So say that's where that qualifying really comes into play. So Craig's going to try to check out and see what he can do. But again, we'll see what these drivers are able to do as the run continues. So it looks like we had 17 drivers take the grid tonight. So say as you can see the drivers right now, everybody's kind of getting all settled in here. So it looks like a pretty good battle there around the third position. Actually, it looks like Bud Steele, he's fallen back just a little bit from his third position there. He's now down into the 5th spot. As I see Chris Tague and David Leclerc, they've been able to sneak around him. But now he's got his hands full with that 72 of Eric Schaus.
Yeah, and I'm kind of noticing what I thought was going to happen here. People are going to string out a little bit. And definitely get some gaps between each other. And I'm noticing some people are having success at getting runs and passing underneath. So I think there's maybe some people that have figured out the setup or made the right changes, and we're seeing them move forward.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be a lot of what we're going to be looking for is to see who can make which adjustments to help their cause. So you see Charles Johnson all over the back of that 6 of Bud Steele. Charles trying to see if he can find a way underneath. He's going to peek inside through 1 and 2. But as you can see, look like you said, Steve, looks like he got a little bit tight there out of turn number 2. And say, but able to hold some pretty decent momentum through 3 and 4. I'm thinking the inside line is going to prevail here. But actually, as I say that, though, Bud Steele with a lot of momentum around the top side, looks like he's going to hang on to that spot out of 4.
Yeah, he did. If I had to guess, Charles Johnson usually does pretty good at saving his tires early in the run, so it's possible he didn't want to push it as hard as he could have there.
Yeah, again, as we mentioned, say also it's early, and I say there are no faster pairs, so I say you got to be careful. I think we're going to see a lot more caution from these drivers to try to keep their cars in one piece here tonight. So you see just a little further back there, saw 63 AJ Hobson. He's trying to now fight with that 38 of David Patton, Todd Merkel in the 81 right behind him. As I said, I'm jumping around just a little bit. See a good battle here with David Leclerc, Eric Schaus. This is the 4th and 5th positions here on track. Eric Schaus moving up to 4th from the 6th starting spot. And then also I see the 35 of Chris Tague. He's starting to close the gap onto that 76 of Jim Brooks. Battle for that 2nd position here.
Yeah, Craig has really kind of run away from the field right now. He's got a 1.2 second lead over Jim Brooks, who's in 2nd. Jim and Chris Tague are pretty close to each other.
Oh, we got a caution. Looks like, I believe it might be, yeah, it's the 90 of John Brill. Looks like he has looped it. Oh, he's got pretty heavy front end damage as well. So I'll just see if maybe, I'll say for his sake, hopefully it's just some nose damage and nothing, just cosmetic and nothing on the suspension side of things. So otherwise, unfortunately, his evening might be short-lived. So let's go back and see what happened to John here.
He got a little bit too much apron.
Yeah, we're taking a look as he's entering turns 1 and 2. And yeah, you can see the car really rotates there. And yeah, like you said, it just catches the apron there, and just that really, I'll say you can't really touch the apron with these cars. It just completely unsettles it, and then does a pretty quick loop around and hits pretty square. I mean, it's a hard hit, but I say it looked like he hit pretty square on there. So with a little bit of luck, might be able to see if he can benefit from that. And we're talking about Craig Forsyth kind of setting sail here. He's going to be a lonely man out on track here, as he's the only driver to stay out, it looks like. Actually, as I said, it looks like the 35 of Chris Tague, he's going to stay out here. But I want to say something may have happened to Chris, though, because I thought he was actually further up the running order than where he was once the pit stops happened. So looks like our top 2 at the moment are going to stay out. We'll see if Chris decides to duck in this next time around. But at the moment, looks like we have just 2 cars staying out here on this first yellow.
and it'll be interesting to see what a difference tires make at this track, because we've certainly seen enough where tires didn't really make a difference. But I'm thinking with the kind of push that we're experiencing at this track, and the tire wear, it's very possible that these guys with new tires are going to go right by the top two.
Yeah, well, to say it's only a 10-lap run. And actually, as I say that, here comes that 35 of Chris Tay. He is going to hit the pits, which will then now leave Craig Forsyth as the only driver now to not make a pit stop there. And say we also mentioned the other thing about the fuel window being, it sounds like around the 40, like maybe mid low 40 range. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. So yeah, we'll see what that does. Let's say on the fuel mileage. Of course, right now Craig able to save a ton of fuel, of course, here under yellow. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. So we got a couple of viewers here. So we've got Charles Teeton, unfortunately not racing this evening. He's going to be watching the election results. Let's say that I'm very thankful. I'm sure you are, Steve, as well, that we get to do this instead, because let's say it'll distract us from all of that. But it's stressful enough doing some of these broadcasts, and even for these drivers, of course, being in the cars. So I think it's going to be even that much more stressful watching the results for everybody. And so I also got Matt Wagner and Dale's here, as well as somehow Don is able to do some Facebook chat and race at the same time. A little concerned about that one, but Matt, hope you're doing well. And I'll say, Don, if you're still watching, good luck this evening. And Dale, of course, look forward to having you in the booth with me in some future races as well here. All right, so Steve, looks like not a lot has changed. So we got the one to go. Unfortunately, it looks like the 90 of John Brill, from what I can see, has possibly retired. I don't see him in the server anymore, so I think that may have been terminal damage for that number 90 machine, unfortunately. So we'll kind of wait and see how that part goes. So insider info sounds like that 00 of Don Runkle Jr. He says the car is feeling fast, but he's going to be playing it safe this evening. Say Don right now showing in the 12th position. And then Matt Wagner as well. It looks like Matt's going to try to sign up for this series, see if he can do some racing here at Area 51. So again, be pretty awesome to get a few more names and faces into this league here, Steve.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, the field looks a little bit smaller than normal tonight.
Yeah, but the thing is, slightly smaller fields has been putting on really good racing, especially the first week that they had here. So we'll see how week 2 goes. Of course, a little trickier with this being a short track. That being said, the field is going to get back going here again. So you see Craig Forsyth getting things ready to go, and he has dropped the hammer. And we're going to get back to green here on lap number 15, 86 laps remaining. And you can see Craig gets a pretty good jump over the 76 of Jim Brooks again. So now we'll wait and see what those tires can do, if it's going to kind of settle in. That being said, though, you see Eric Schaus actually now jumped up to that 3rd position through those pit stop cycles. So Eric making some pretty good gains here early on. And of course, he's going to be one to watch for in tonight's race.
Wow, did Jim Brooks close up a lot on the front straight.
Wow, yeah, you're right. He's there. So now the question is, can he do anything with it? And like we've always talked about the aero push with these cars. I mean, you can get there, but then can you do anything with it? So Jim's going to have to try to see if he can figure out a way to get around that 131 Craig Forsyth. And of course, at the same time, going to have to be a little bit careful not to lose too much momentum as well, because then that'll open the door for the 72 of Eric Schaus. Here comes Jim. He's going to peek to the inside through turns 2 through the dogleg. And so we'll see if he can complete the pass here in turns 3 and 4, or if Craig's going to be able to hold that top side and keep that momentum rolling.
I'm kind of impressed to see Craig Forsyth doing as well as he is on 10-lap older tires.
Yeah, so this is again really close there off of 2. Jim trying to see if he can find a way around Eric. You see closing the gap here, and I think this is really good. I mean, we talked about these tracks so difficult to pass, so now it looks like there is some advantage though for these tires we talked about, Steve. I'll say Jim trying to get everything he can out of him here, I think early on, and then try to use that clean air and try to set sail. Had that one attempt so far. We'll see if he can make another shot at it. But seems like that top line through 3 and 4 though really is able to roll that momentum pretty well here.
Yeah, definitely. And the one thing that we don't see right now is Craig Forsyth pulling away from everyone.
Yeah, it's a really good point. So I'll say those tires, like I said, that they might make a bigger difference than we may have thought. I see the 35 Chris Take. He's hit the pits here. We'll focus on our leaders, though. We'll keep an eye and see if he's able to get back out on track or not. It looks like he actually had to take a tow there. But right now our top 3 all right together here up front. Also see Bud Steele starting to creep into the picture there in 4th. So So we're about to have a 4-car battle for the lead. And then just a little bit outside the frame there, Chris Jabot, he's in a pretty good fight there with Charles Johnson. And also David Patton there in the 38 car. You see those three all nose to tail here as well through 3 and 4. So we got a couple little battles here on track. Also see David Leclerc, he's trying to creep back into the picture. You see Charles jumps to the inside of that number 5 here in turn 1.
There goes Eric's going under Jim Brooks as they head into turn 3, and Jim lets him have the spot.
Yeah, I think Jim well, actually, I was about to say, as I said, Jim maybe rolled out. So, you know what, I tried. I couldn't get it. Now you give it a shot here, Eric. But I said it looked like he was about to try to do the over-under, so I thought maybe that wasn't actually the case. But, yeah, like I said. Yeah, I say Eric Schaus now up into the front here, or into second here, trying to see if he can go for the lead.
And it looks like Chris Jabot is putting some space between himself and Charles Johnson right now, so that's pretty good. Can he catch these guys? Here goes Eric for the lead. And he's definitely getting it now.
Yeah, like I said, great move by Eric. They're able to get to the front here. So, yeah, so move Eric Schaus now to the lead. Say it's going to now bring Craig Forsyth back into the second position. Now, with that arrow push as well and those older tires, we'll see if that's going to really start hurting that 131 of Craig Forsyth here, or if he's able to settle in. But yeah, like you said, though, also that 5 of Chris Jabot, he's been able to stretch it now away from Charles Johnson. So he's going to try to creep into this fight with that 6 of Bud Steele, Jim Brooks, Craig Forsyth. So I was going to say Eric Schaus, but he's starting to check out pretty quickly here, Steve.
Yeah, he's definitely pulled away by quite a bit. But it's interesting that, you know, even now with Craig Forsyth on the older tires and having to deal with the aero stuff from Eric being ahead of him, the people behind him on newer tires are not really able to do anything.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So it's definitely, I mean, it bodes well. So seems like that you're able to do pretty well with that. So let's just kind of keep an eye and see. As you see, though, Bud Steele now able to get around that number 76 of Jim Brooks. So maybe Jim used the stuff up a little bit there early on, trying to get around that 131 of Craig Forsyth. So we'll see if Bud can close the gap on Craig Forsyth. But yeah, right now though, those top two kind of snuck away just a little bit here, as you mentioned, of course, with those fresher tires on that number 72 of Eric Schaus. Now, as he's in the lead here pretty comfortably, about almost second and 3/4 or so. So right now Eric leading the way there. Bud Steele now up into third. So we'll keep an eye on them. As also a little further back, again, we mentioned Chris Jabot still holding on to that 5th spot. Then behind him, David Patton. He's moved up into 6th, got around Charles Johnson. So those are our top 6 at the moment. I'm trying to watch lap times here as well. That's always a pretty good telltale how drivers are doing. Last couple laps, fastest car on track's been the 81 of Todd Merkel. He's in the 11th position, but say he's still putting down some pretty quick lap times here. So he's got a pretty good track in front of him. Just the 88 of Michael Spell. But say other than that, he's got some pretty clean air in front.
I wonder if he's saved his stuff enough to start passing people and get up here and challenge the leaders.
Yeah, I'll have to keep an eye and see how his lap times progress as this race keeps on unfolding here. Bud Steele's got around Jim Brooks, but he's not been able to do anything with it as of yet. Now, Jim's just kind of unfortunate in that aero wash. As I mentioning that the 38 of David Patton, he's now onto the back wing of that number 5 of Chris Jabot here for the 5th position. So we'll see if David's able to do anything for this spot right now up front here. So actually, let's hop on board with that number 38.
I'm really impressed that Craig Forsyth has managed to hold on to 2nd place here.
No, he's done a really good job, like you said, with those older tires. I think they've probably also kind of settled in a little bit now. Lap time wise, we'll keep an eye on that, but it looks like right now Eric about a 1/10 of a second quicker than Craig that last time by. And it's interesting to note here with these cars is you see David Patton, he's actually going between 4th and 5th gear. They're actually never really touching 6th now with this run that they've been on so far. So they've been about a 20 or so lap green flag run. So right now David Patton still trying to trace down Chris Jabot, but as I say that though, Chris Jabot, he's gone right to the back now of Jim Brooks and Bud Steele. So that battle for 5th is now starting to turn into a battle for that 3rd position with these 4 cars. So definitely the closest battle on track as well, Steve. Let's say, like you mentioned, Eric Schaus a little over 2 seconds out in front. And then, of course, then from Craig Forsyth back to Bud Steele, it's another about 2 seconds or so back to Bud. As you see, now Jim having to protect the inside line from that number 5. But again, we've seen that outside line work. I'm curious to see, is anybody going to try to maybe make an outside move? Actually, as I say that, Chris is going to go for the over-under here on that 76. Went top there in 3 and 4. He's going to dive to the inside here in 1 and 2. If he can get the power down quick enough. Oh, washes up just a little bit in front of the 76. Going to grab the spot. So he's going to try to bring David Patton along here with him as well.
Yeah, Chris looks like has done a really remarkably good job of saving his tires.
Yeah, so he's one of the bigger climbers so far this evening. So Eric Schaus +5 from 6th to 1st. Chris now from 7th to 4th, and right behind him, David Patton from 10th to 5th. So some of our bigger gainers here so far this evening. Also got to mention, though, that 88 Michael Spell. He started in the 16th position up into that top 10. So he's doing really well here as well. Saying actually last time around, quickest car on track was that 00 Don Runkle Jr. So he mentioned he felt like he had pace in that car, just kind of biding his time. So last time around, he had been the quickest car on track. This time, it's going to go to that number 5 of Chris Jabot. So I think he's going to try to set sail here and grab that 3rd position.
Yeah, he's definitely reeling in Bud Steele.
So now the next question is going to be the fuel mileage. I'd say we heard that window being in that mid range of 40s or so, maybe like 45, plus minus a couple laps. So I'd say it could be, let's say, 50 laps. Of course, that's going to be the magic number to get you to that halfway point. As fast as these lap times are here, you do not want to get caught out on a yellow, which is going to be the biggest concern, I feel like, for Craig Forsyth. He will have to be the first to make a green flag pit stop if we get to that point. But right now, let's say still Eric Schaus, you can see just still stretching his lead almost 3.5 seconds now over Craig Forsyth. Saying Craig's still holding steady at about 2 seconds over Bud Steele. But I think that 3rd position is about to change hands as Chris gets a huge run on that number 6 car. He's going to get to the outside here in turn 3 and 4. So we'll see. We talked about if it could work. See, Bud's going to try to protect the outside line tight through 3 and 4. Chris jumps to the top, and he's going to get the spot there. So pretty bold move there for that number 5 of Chris Jabot. Grabbing that 3rd position from Bud Steele there on the outside.
And he's still got David Patton tagging along back there.
Yeah, so I think David's trying to let Chris open those doors, and he tried to kind of follow along with him, but so he wasn't able to kind of follow through that time around. But now we'll see now with these top 3 now, all of them in really clean air. We'll see what these lap times are going to be looking like for them. Last time around, Eric Schaus about 0.2 of a second quicker than Craig Forsyth. So we'll see here this next time around what kind of lap times they're doing. Looks like Eric ran a 20.872. Then we got a 21.05 for Craig. And then Chris Jabot ran a... Oh, it was like a 21.0, but we have a caution. Trying to see where it is on track. I think it may have been the 44 of Dwight Plesh. I see him in the pits here.
I guarantee you that Craig Forsyth was just praying for that to happen. Because look at what lap number it is.
That's right on that number.
He probably saved a little fuel under the first caution, but I don't think he could have gone too many more laps. So this couldn't have worked out more perfectly for him.
Yeah, not really seeing anything out of the ordinary. I think it may have just been in relation to that number 44 Dwight Plesh. You see him here in 3 and 4. So he drops it to the apron here and then winds up taking a tow to the pits. And I think it was enough for iRacing to throw the yellow there. So like you said, huge break, though, for that 131 of Craig Forsyth as leaders are hitting the pits now. But yeah, you're exactly right, though, Steve. That was definitely a big break for Craig Forsyth as that was right around that window. I think he probably could have got to the lap 50 mark. What's going to be interesting now, though, as well, is this is a pit stop here right outside that fuel window range. So we'll have to see if that's going to come into play here this evening.
Yeah, I didn't even look to see how many laps the race is.
Yeah, so we got 100 laps here tonight, so it's all going to be happening real quick. So now it's all about the pit stops to see if that number one pit stop serves an advantage for Craig. Looks like Eric's going to win that race off of the pit road. So it actually looks like, so trying to see where that number 5 of Chris Jabot was on that pit stop cycle. Looks like he's actually lost a few spots here. Yeah, he's going to fall behind, unfortunately, Bud Steele and David Patton there. So he's going to drop to 5th here after that pit stop cycle. So now, not what that number 5 was looking for sure. I say, looking at the pit stop times, looks like pretty typical pit stops. I say, I don't see any long stops for maybe a front wing repair or anything like that. So looks like everything going to hold pretty steady here tonight, as it looks like we see the 44 Dwight Plush still sitting in the pits. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, though, Chris Tigg has retired from the event, as has John Brill. And so we'll see about Dwight Plush. I think Dwight may have retired as well, which is going to leave us 14 cars here on track, and of course those 14 on the lead lap as well.
So it looks like we're going to have about 50 laps to go when these guys go green. And like you said, it's going to be real close as to whether they can make it or not.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, if I'm some of those guys a little further in the back here, as we've seen, it's not easy to pass. It can be done, but it's difficult. Say if we do get a green flag run to the end, does anybody decide to try to pull a strategy here and top off on the one to go? I mean, that little bit could wind up being the difference here. So I don't suspect we'll see any of the top. I'd say maybe top 10. But I think possibly from 11th on back, I think we might see some takers there once we get that one to go here, which I think this is still going to be 2 to go. Nope, as I said, it is 1 to go. And surprisingly, no takers, Steve. So my strategy, nobody liked my strategy there.
I like it. If I was in the back, I would have pitted for fuel.
Yeah, no, I would have done exactly the same as well. I mean, especially if you are, let's say, like, again, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but yeah, if I'm James Ledford, if I know that I'm the last car in the lead lap here, I would have definitely topped off, because, I mean, really at that point, what do you have to lose unless everybody knows, maybe they know they can make it to the end based on what they did on this first run here. So say you never know on this one, and say these guys are probably a little bit better than I am on this side of strategy side of things. So that being said, though, everybody's going to be back on equal playing fields here, tires and fuel-wise. So, but now that being said, that's going to be Eric Schaus leading this restart. So we'll see when he's going to fire off as the pace car drops in. It's going to be up to the discretion of that 72 to get going when he's ready. So he comes out of turn 4, and he's going to drop the hammer now. And gets a pretty good start. You see already, Steve wants to break that draft from that 131 of Craig Forsyth.
Yep. And there was definitely a nice little accordion effect going on behind him.
Yeah, that's a big risk with these cars here. Say just say everybody, of course, the little further back you are, let's say you're going to have that little bit bigger accordion, and so that's just, you got to be on your toes and make sure you don't get into the back of anybody there. So right now everybody holding pretty steady. Michael Spell's in a good little battle there for a moment. Actually, no, I'm sorry, that's not Michael Spell. I think it's Charles Johnson.
Bud Steele? What happened to Bud?
Oh, you're right. Bud's dropped way back here. So he's now showing in about the 8th position there. So say car looks clean from what I can see. I'm not sure if something happened to him, or maybe just say this might be some of the strategy, try to get a little bit further back in the draft and just go full save. We'll have to wait and see on that one, but just the car does seem like it has a bit of a push at the moment, but might also just be trying to save some tires here for this run if it does go long. Which right now you see a big battle here with Charles Johnson, Jim Brooks, and David Leclerc. Right now this is for the 5th, 6th, and 7th positions. With Chris Jabot in 4th right in front of him.
I'm going to take a guess at what happened with Bud Steele. Remember that time a certain driver forgot to change his engine map?
Ooh, that's a very good potential there, Steve. I wonder if, he may have been on the caution map still.
Yep.
Oh, Charles Johnson, tight battle off of turn 2 with Chris Jabot. Chris going to hang on to that spot, but it was close there. So they're going to stay in line here, but this battle is definitely not over. Now Jim Brooks right back into the mix as well. So one driver that's kind of made an advantage of this one is that 38 of David Patton. That's like I'm going to jump back here as we have another battle there. Again, Charles is going to try to jump to the outside. Chris trying to fight him off here. So we go three wide through the kink here. Jim Brooks, Charles Johnson, Chris Jabot entering turn number 3. It's like Chris had to give there. So now Jim Brooks looks like he's going to try to get a 2-for-1, but Charles has other options there. He's going to fight back on the outside, and he's going to grab that spot back. So move Charles now up into 4th, Jim in 5th, and then Chris now back into that 6th spot. And here I thought, Steve, they were going to take it easy.
That was a little hairy back there. I give Chris Jabot credit for backing off there, because it's a hard thing to do when you're about to lose 2 spots.
Yeah, so you never want to, obviously, but say again, that lack of fast rest, I think, is going to really come into play. So say right now, those top 3 have really separated themselves. Eric Schaus got about a 1.5 lead or so over Craig Forsyth. Craig with about the same gap over that 38 of David Patton. Let's say, and then from Charles Johnson on back, it's definitely a little bit more of a close battle here from 4th on back. So haven't been able to mention all the drivers here. See AJ Hobson here in that Marlboro Paints game. AJ started 11th, is up into the 8th position. And he's in that number 63 machine. Now, obviously, you got Bud Steele right behind him. We mentioned David Leclerc right in front of him in the 7th position. So a little further back, you got Michael Spell. He's in a pretty good battle there. You see Don Runkle Jr. actually looks like he's just gotten around him. That's going to move Don, I believe, up into... Actually, I think Don is in the 10th position. Apologies. I say he's got Todd Merkel there in the 81, though, right behind him as well. And then we've got Benjamin Combs. Haven't mentioned him this evening yet in the 77 in the 13th position. Then James Ledford right behind him. So I'd say you got these cars right here. This is 10th through 14th. And I'd say they're all right here, nose to tail here.
So things have spread out quite a bit up front. Curious to see, they're all on equal tires now. Is anyone going to be able to move up?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious to see too. Like you said, Steve, about the weight jacker, the roll bar adjustments, everything like that you can make. What kind of adjustments? We'll have to check with them after the race. What kind of adjustments are they having to make in car during the race? And then what do they have to change back after the pit stops as well? Because obviously with these fuel loads, fresh tires, that's going to really change the way these cars drive. So right now, Jim Brooks looks like he's got slightly better of a long run than Charles Johnson. Charles seems like he's got a bit of a push in the car from where I'm watching. Jim's trying to get back up to the back of him in a 28. And then right now, this is actually one of the closer battles on track. Next one is, I believe, that 00 Don Runkle Jr. with the 81 of Todd Merkel here for the 10th position. And then right behind them, Michael Spell, Benjamin Combs, also in a pretty good fight up here. That being said, though, actually, as I'm watching that 38 of David Patton, he has really closed the gap on that 131 of Craig Forsyth now within about just half a second.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, it seemed like on the last long green run that David Patton had done a really good job of saving his tires and seemed to be able to chase down the cars ahead of him. So I don't know if he's got enough for Eric Schaus, but it looks like he might have enough for Craig Forsyth here.
Yeah, so again, this is where you wonder, is there maybe some strategy going on with some of these drivers on how hard they want to run? Maybe Craig's not running that full rich map. He might be running just a little leaner and try to stretch out a little bit more. Because right now he's got that clean air in front of him, so he can't really use a toe of anybody in front. Whereas David Patton, obviously, he's got plenty of draft off of Craig. Kind of a similar situation with Jim Brooks and Charles Johnson. But as I say that here, Jim's going to duck to the inside in turn number 3. Looks like Charles is going to still, again, try to fight that outside here off of 4. And again, looks like that momentum off of 4 really comes into play. So, inside line is not the be-all and end-all where you want to be on track. So you can really hold your spot there if you run that top side.
Yeah, definitely. If you come off side by side from either one of the turns, but especially turn 4, the guy on the outside has a huge advantage.
Well, everything's spread out a little bit. Let's run through our field here. So starting with our race leader, Eric Schaus. So let's see here. We got that number 72 of Eric Schaus in the lead. So I thought I'd pull up the starting position. Looks like that didn't work. That's okay. Behind him in second position is Craig Forsyth. Craig started on pole position. In third is that number 38 of David Patton. Mentioned David started in the 10th position up into third, so +7 for him so far. Then in fourth, that battle between Charles Johnson and Jim Brooks. Now looks like Jim's going to grab that 4th position, move Charles Johnson back to 5th. So say that is that battle right there. So Jim Brooks now 4, Charles Johnson 5th. Right behind them in the 6th position is that number 5 of Chris Jabot. In 7th is the number 50 here of David Leclerc. David started in the 4th position. And we've got that 6 of Bud Steele in 8th. In 9th, we have AJ Hobson in that number 63 Marlboro machine. And still running at the top 10 is that 00 of Don Merkel Jr. trying to hold off, though, that number 81 of Todd Merkel in the 81 here. He is in the 11th spot. Then in 12th is that 88 of Michael Spell. And behind Michael is the 77 of Benjamin Combs. And right in the last car on the lead lap, that 48 of James Ledford in the 14th position.
Did Charles Johnson just warp out? He disappeared off. Oh, there he's back.
Yes, I just want to go back and check, and yeah, he just popped back in now. So a little bit of connection hiccup there, unfortunately. And I say also while we were watching this, I thought I saw it out of the corner of my eyes, but it looks like Todd Merkel has been able to get around that 00 of Don Merkel Jr. So move Craig now up into 10th, and he is chasing down that 63 of AJ Hobson here for the 9th spot. So right now, this is definitely the closest battle on track. This is, I say, it looks like we mentioned the long run speed, and it looks like Todd Merkel, he's done a good job managing his tires. He seems like he's got some pretty good pace, but one thing I gotta mention is these laps are clicking off quickly as we have 27 laps to go. So already near 3/4 distance, and actually, as you see, the 6 of Bud Steele, he's hitting the pits here. So whether or not this is a scheduled stop, we'll have to wait and see, but this might kind of open the door of telling us what we were thinking about on the fuel side of things. Maybe Bud here trying to split this this window in half.
Yeah, well, that definitely would be splitting it in half.
So say watch and see if it is a normal pit stop or not. Hopefully everything is good on his side. And sure enough, looks like he's just going for a pit stop for tires and fuel. And he is down and away. Also see the 88 of Michael Spell. He's hitting the pit stop, or hitting the pits as well. But now the problem for Bud Steele is, again, we talked about how fast this track is. Bud's actually now trapped 2 laps down in that number 6 machine. So this is where he's got to hope it's going to cycle through green. And of course, now he's got to try to make use of these fresh tires and see if he can get at least one of those laps back, as that's going to be critical for his chances tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And I suspect the fact that 2 people have already had to pit means that nobody here is going to be able to make it the whole way without pitting again.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning the same way for sure. There you see Bud now all to the back of that 131 Craig Forsyth. He's going to grab the spot out of turn number 4. So now Bud's got some clean air to get to that 72 of Eric Schaus. So now he's going to have about 3 seconds to close that gap. That being said, though, Eric's not too far away from catching some of that lap traffic, as you see there. The 48 of James Ledford, 77 of Benjamin Combs. So they're going to be those next 2 to go. The first 2, I should say, to actually go a lap down under this green flag run here. But so we'll see if that slows the pace down to that 72 at all. Looks slow.
Brooks, once he got around Charles Johnson, is just checked out on him.
Yeah, it looks like Charles looks like he may have had another connection hiccup. I see him again not showing up on our display, so we'll keep an eye. It looks like he just popped back in now. Right in front of Chris Jabot. So yeah, you're right. Charles is really fallen off here. So the other thing you mentioned, though, Jim, is he is not too far away from catching up to that 38 of David Patton, Craig Forsyth. As I see the 63 of AJ Hobson, he's going to hit the pits here. As this next time around, I believe we're at 20 to go, and I say Eric Schaus is in a hornet's nest right now. He's got fresher tires behind him. He's got lap cars in front of him. So he's going to have to try to really be careful here and balance kind of risk versus reward here, trying to get around these lap cars. As I say, that contact between the 6 and the 72, that was exactly what I was afraid to see there. And that's going to probably, unfortunately, end Eric Schaus's night. He's going to get the car back rolling, but heavy damage for that 72 machine. So they look like contact between him and the 6. Let's go back and look, but that's really going to shake things up here, and that's just unfortunate to see.
Yeah, very.
See if we can get a better angle here going into turn number 3. I have a feeling kind of just maybe just a little mixed idea of who was going where. You see Eric had a really late entry there into turn number 3, and then yeah, Bud Steele gets into the back of that 72 entering the turn. So I'm thinking that Bud may have thought that Eric was trying to go top to let him on by, but then Eric, of course, trying to get that arc underneath those lap cars in front of him. So Yeah, that's definitely a shame. Say Eric's going to hit the pits. Excuse me, hit the pits here. Hopefully, see if he can maybe get that damaged fixed. But yeah, so right now we're going to have our leaders here all hitting the pit road. Saying it's unfortunately going to trap Michael's spell there. He was 2 laps down. He's going to get, I believe, the wave around here, which will put him back to 1 down. And we'll have to see where that 60, where the 6 and the 63 cycle throughs. I believe they had just made their pit stops under green.
And I guess, I don't know, Bud Steele is probably going to take the wave around here, but he did get some damage to the front wing on that contact.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to take a look there. So yeah, so it looks like Craig's going to hold station through the pit stops. Jim Brooks able to jump into that second spot after the pit stop cycle. Everybody, of course, able to make it to the end from here. So let's jump over and take a look at the 72. It looks honestly not that bad. Say they got a front wing on it, they got a rear wing on it. It was a 23-second pit stop, so I mean, we'll have to kind of wait and see on that one. I'll say, well, next thing we'll have to double check, of course, as well is going to be to see if it's got any damage on the suspension side of things. So we'll do here, let's do a little check. We're going to watch the steering input of that 131 on the straightaway, so just a little bit off to the right. You know, I think Eric may have gotten away with just cosmetic damage. Downside, of course, is he's got a lot of traffic to try to get back around, to get back to where he was. But that car does seem like it was pointing pretty straight there. I didn't see any like suspension damage from the way the wheel is pointing, so still might stand a chance here. And yeah, you're exactly right, Steve. It looks like that 6 and 63, they're going to take the wave rounds here to get back onto the lead lap. And that is going to, yeah, we'll have to see how this one's going to unfold here as we're going to restart with about 15 to go, I want to say.
And Craig Forsyth will be delighted that he's going to have clean air. And only 16 laps to go when they restart, so...
Yeah, definitely not going to be any fuel or tire saving here. Everybody's going to be going full tilt. So I have a feeling we probably haven't seen our last caution of the evening. That being said, so far we've only had the 3 cautions for 12 laps in this 100-lap race here at Phoenix, which is at a short track is a pretty good accomplishment because this track is not the easiest one to try to race around, especially when you're going as fast as these drivers are here. All right, so there says, see, lights are off on the pace car. Field is getting lined back up again. So it's going to be Craig Forsyth leading the way on this restart. Jim Brooks right behind him, David Patton. So it's going to be really important here for Craig, though, to make sure he gets a good restart. And he's going to try to check out as quick as he can. But we've seen how important that draft is. Now just whether or not you can do anything with it once you get to the rear wing of that car in front of you.
And I see James Ledford pulling down low. Looks like he's going to let Eric Schaus go by on the outside.
All right, green flag is out. Looks like Craig did a really good restart there. So now, I say Jim's actually having to go on the defense a little bit from David Patton there through turns 1 and 2. And yeah, I say David is all over the back of that 76 car entering, or going through the little kink there, now entering turn number 3. So we'll see what these drivers are able to do. As we, like I said, 15 to go, 14 to go here at the line. Right now, Craig Forsyth kind of leading things off here, getting a really strong restart, doing exactly what he needed to do there to try to help his chances for getting a win here tonight.
Yeah, I think with the small number of laps left, that it's going to be pretty tough for anybody to get past Craig Forsyth, just based on what we saw from him early in the race.
Yeah, I mean, we know he's got a lot of pace, and of course, once he has that clean air as well, it's going to be that much more effective for him. So right now, though, say those top 3 still trying to stay within touch, all within about 0.7 of a second of each other. So it looks like Jim's starting to close the gap just a little bit here. So we'll see if they maybe try to move their lines a little bit around and make some, try to make some gains. And of course, just to see how they're able to kind of keep the tire wear going on these cars. But last time around, looks like Craig is still a little quicker at 20.0. But actually, as I say that, looks like that 38 of David Patton, he's going to try to go for that second position. And it looks like he's going to get it to move David Patton now up into that second position. So we'll see. We saw David had some really good pace as well. So we'll see if he can do anything with that leader. So I unfortunately think I may have missed something. I see the 72 of Eric Schaus. He is in the pits, so it looks like day may be done for him. Unfortunately, say just really unfortunate. Say he had a really good run going tonight, Steve. Just unfortunate to say he was just in a really bad spot there, trying to catch and pass lap traffic. Had some fresh tires behind him, and say just they kind of wound up meeting in the middle there. So not the night he was looking for by any means.
No, he definitely had this race won, I think, had that not happened. But I'm looking to see what happened to him. He just lost it coming off of turn 4. I don't know if that's because of adjustments he made or that it didn't fix all the damage.
Yeah, there may have been some hidden suspension damage that just only so much you can get fixed there. So that being said, though, say short run pace, though, that 38th, though, David Patton still doing well, say running just a little quicker the last time by than Craig Forsyth. That being said, though, say Jim Brooks not too far away from starting to get some pressure from Charles Johnson, Chris Jabot for that third spot. I see Chris has definitely caught the back of that 28 machine. Again, though, say getting to him is one thing, passing him is another, as we already have 7 laps to go here at Phoenix. Like I mentioned, say right now these drivers running just over 20-second lap times right now. And say fastest car on track last time by was AJ Hobson in the 63. But that being said, though, David Patton actually was about a 1/10 of a second quicker than Craig Forsyth. So he's going to need a little bit more than that, though, to try to bring that gap down if he has any shot at it.
Yep, and he's only got 5 laps left to do it.
Yeah, these laps are ticking off quickly here at Phoenix. So you can see it's just under a second right now. Say Craig doing everything he can, of course, to try to secure this win. David Patton here is going to try to get that run. You see, actually, Craig there tries to break the draft a little bit down that front stretch. That being said, though, actually, that gap is shrinking. It's down to about 7/10 of a second now. So he's starting to start to feel the draft of that 131 that much more, which is say going to be a big help in the straightaways. Going to be probably a little bit of some aero push in the turns, but David Patton not going to give up here tonight at Phoenix as we have 4 laps to go here at the line.
Yep, looks to me like David may actually catch him.
Yeah, last couple laps he's been about 0.2 of a second quicker, so say he's going to definitely use everything he can now. Say it's one of those things. I mean, again, it's tough to pass, but I mean, if you can pressure Craig into a mistake, I mean, you never know how these things can turn out. So, so right now, about 0.4 of a second between the two of them. They've been able to check out away from Jim Brooks. He's been able to stretch his gap a little bit again over Charles Johnson. So right now, this is definitely the closest battle on track here for the win as well. And we're going to cross line 2 laps to go, still holding steady at about 0.4 of a second. We'll see. We'll just say it's been shrinking that little bit, and David's been able to manage this aero push really well, Steve.
Yeah, he has. I'm pretty impressed.
All right, we're coming through 3 and 4. We're going to get the white flag this time around. And again, you see David moving everywhere he can, trying to keep the clean air on the nose of that 38 car. So let's see if he can make anything happen here as they go through 1 and 2. Pretty even between the two of them. You see David just a little bit lower there again, trying to keep some fresh air on the front wing of that car. So I'll say it's going to take a lot to try to do something here through 3 and 4 for the final time. But looks like in the end it's going to be Craig Forsyth getting the win here tonight at Phoenix over the 38 of David Patton. Jim Brooks going to bring it home in 3rd. It's like Chris Jabot able to get around Charles Johnson for the 4th position. David Leclerc followed through for 5th. And Charles Johnson going to bring it back home in the 6th spot. All right, well, congrats to our winner here, Craig Forsyth. I'll say we'll keep an eye on him and watch him celebrate as we'll start trying to find some drivers to have some chats with. So give us just a moment and we will get them pulled up here in just a minute. All right, we're going to pull in our third place finish here. That number 76 of Jim Brooks started in the second position, able to bring it home in third. So it looked like you definitely had long run pace on in that 76 car. The short run maybe wasn't quite your forte tonight. I mean, I guess take us through like where did you feel like your strengths and weaknesses were, and say what were you looking for to have a chance to get those two spots better.
Trying to figure out what to do. I mean, starts pushing really bad, and then I tried to battle Craig that one time for the lead, and he held me, at bay there, and I ended up using up my tires. So I was really angry at myself there. And then I finally got to weight jacker a little better, and was definitely long runs. I was going down to fourth gear through the corners, and that was helping me a lot on the long runs. I was keeping good speed up, but we didn't get one of those.
Yes, they didn't quite get the fuel run. Obviously, you're hoping for. The question I had is we had that caution kind of towards like right in the middle portion of the race there. Were you all like? Did you think you could make it to the end if it went green the rest of the way, or was there no way you could stretch it that far?
They're saying we couldn't have. To be honest, I didn't look. I was too busy trying to keep the car on the track. But yeah, supposedly we couldn't make it. So I think everybody. That's why Michael pitted early, and then the caution came out and caught him 2 laps down. So yeah, we didn't have enough.
Okay, that's what we are curious about. That we kind of expect to see at least a couple drivers try topping off, but nobody did. So we suspect either it was either nobody could make it or everybody could. So that being said, though, I mean, still a really good result there tonight. So they get in the third place tonight. Was there anything that stood out for you for your race overall, though?
Yeah, I've never liked this track very much, so I'm happy to. A third is almost a win. So yeah, that was a fun race, and Craig did a good job there, and I think Eric got caught up, or he probably would have been up there.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I had a little bit of contact with Eric. I think just kind of in a bad spot between lap traffic and then some fresh tires behind him. Unfortunately, did him in tonight. So, but yeah, a great run tonight. So I want to give you a chance. Any thanks shouts you'd like to give for that third place run?
Yeah, we've got to get your brother in here running pretty soon. You hear that, Kobe?
Yeah, I'll say hopefully he'll start racing, and so yeah, it's like keep the pressure on him. He'll eventually start racing with you. Loki's very excited about the result as well as he's yelling in my ear. But yeah, so great run, and look forward to catching you again here soon.
Thanks for covering you and Stu.
All right, that is our third place finisher there, Jim Brooks. Now we got to find our second place finisher, that number 38 of David Patton. Say David there started in the 10th position, able to get all the way up into second. I think you're definitely, I think, making Craig sweat there towards the end. So you definitely got the pressure on him there at the end. Was it just a little bit too much aero push at the end that really prevented you from kind of finishing up that gap between them?
Yeah, Gal. Arrow push and lack of talent on my part. I think so. I really hate Phoenix. I hate this configuration of this track. I don't. I'm very inconsistent here, and especially in the Indy car, it's such a tricky car. You got to be really precise. And I'm looking at my lap times, and I'll do a 20.1 one lap, and then the next lap I'm in the 20.3s. It's I'm all over the place. So I knew that going in. I was pretty inconsistent. So I was just really focusing on trying to stay consistent and trying to not make any mistakes. And I think if I had another 5 laps, I could have got up to Craig. I don't know if I would have had what it takes to pass him, because I realized early on I was struggling passing people here because I just don't. I can't. I'm terrible in 3 and 4. I'm much better in 1 and 2, but you can't really make any passes in 1 and 2. So I don't know what I would have done when I got there, but I would have liked another 5 laps to get the shot.
Well, I mean, for feeling like you're not very good at the track, you did an awesome job tonight. Say grabbing that second spot, and say also, I think if not, say I think you're close to one of the highest climbers of the race. So say going from 10th to second, so say nothing to hang your hat on there. I mean, you did a really good job, and it seemed like you kind of had a little bit of both of the long run speed as well as the short term pace on that car. As we saw you making some pretty big moves early, and then of course on the long run able to kind of close the gap on some of those drivers that maybe burn their stuff up as well.
Yeah, I think everything, all my gains were in turn 1 and 2. I think that's where I was really crushing people. 3 and 4, not so much. So I would get these giant runs going into 3 and 4 on people, and then I would stall out. going through 3 and 4 because I'm just not very good in that corner, and I haven't really figured it out yet. But it was another fun race, another good event with Area 51. Like I talked to you last week in the Cup Cars. I'm the new guy here, and I'm enjoying it, and it was fun, and I'm glad to be a part of it, and glad I was able to put up a decent finish here tonight to kind of erase my opening week at Texas when I drove myself into the wall.
Yeah, no, you definitely did that. It's had a really good run tonight, so you kind of already led into it. So yeah, I was going to give you opportunity. Any thanks, shouts you'd like to give for the second place tonight?
Usual, you guys at Green White Checker TV, you guys do an awesome job of calling the race, and we appreciate you being out here all the time and covering all our races. Area 51 and all the admins for all the work they do. And of course, as always, I got to thank Natalie, my future wife to be, for letting me step away from the election madness for a little bit to come and pretend to be a virtual race car driver.
Yes, enjoy the distraction. That's what Steve and I were joking about earlier. So it's a nice way to get away from all the craziness right now and just focus on what we enjoy doing, and that's going fast and turn left.
Thanks, guys.
Great run. Congrats again, David.
Good job, David.
Thank you.
All right, and that's going to leave our last interviewee, and let's say not without any. I wouldn't say not without any drama, but say definitely a well-earned win here tonight from the pole position. That number 131 of Craig Forsyth getting the win this evening. The only part of I feel like you're probably the only concern you had at the point early on was when you stayed out when everybody else pitted there. Were you concerned at all about trying to hold on to that lead?
That was a terrible decision on my part, and I got incredibly lucky when that second caution came out because I had 2 laps of fuel left, and I was doomed if we were going to stay green. As I honestly, all of my third-party telemetry was not working. I had no crew chief, I had no spotter, I had no track information, and of course, when you use all the third-party stuff, you turn all the iRacing stuff off. So I was running a very, very quiet race and having to pay extra attention to everything going on around me because it was a tough race.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it definitely sounds like that would be a challenging one to do. Still able to pull it off there though. Obviously, like you said, it's just kind of the way these races go. Like you said, kind of sometimes you just have to have a little bit of luck. Obviously, some skill to get yourself in that position there as well. Steve and I were talking about. It sounds like they were mentioning some of the drivers kind of talking about the setup being a bit on the tight side. What did you have to make any tweaks to kind of help the way it felt for you to drive, and then also how big of a difference was it when you were maybe not out front controlling it?
I was having trouble. Like last season when we were here, I loved this track and I did really good at this. I guess I won, but. And let's face it, I'm starting to get a complex that the only time I could win is when Eric crashes. So that's not the right. I need to beat this guy on merit at some point here. But no, you had about 10 to 13 laps of really good grip, and then you started having to play with all the tools in the car to try and maintain your speed. And Eric was doing far better at that than I was. It was 0.1, 0.2 seconds a lap. He was pulling away on me, and I had no solution for that. So I lucked out onto this. I won't say otherwise, but I'll definitely take it. I mean, first one out last week and first one across the line this week. So that's an improvement.
Yeah, it's a really good bounce back from last week, and that's actually a really good point on that too. Is obviously the big change with the lack of fast repairs. Did that affect at all what your game plan was going into the race, or your strategy during it, or at that point was it just kind of do what you do best and just try to get the best result you can? Or take us through your mindset on that one.
I've never paid attention to the fast repairs. I was one of the guys. Since I joined the league a couple seasons ago, I've been asking us to reduce the fast repairs and get rid of them. The irony of me being the first one to get bit by no fast repairs is not lost on me last week, but you've got to drive safe, and I'm not the type of person who wants to like kamikaze and oh no, I threw it into the wall, now I'll just start from the back of the pack again. It's not an approach to racing that I like to take.
Well, I'd say your approach definitely worked here tonight. I'd say get in the win. Like I said, a little bit of luck and bad luck, unfortunately, for Eric. That being said, though, it's going to definitely tighten up the points, as you mentioned, of course, with him winning last week, now you winning this week. I'll say it might kind of equal out those results a little bit. So kind of had that inkling that it'd be a good fight between the two of you for sure, going to that 12th week, of course. So I'm sure that's going to help a little bit on that side of things. But that being said, I mean, you did everything you needed to do to capitalize on that one, pulling off the win here tonight. So definitely want to give you the floor. Any thanks, shouts you'd like to give?
Oh, I got to thank the Area 51 guys. It's a couple seasons into this now. I love my Tuesday races, and you guys over at Green White Checkers and Butt Kicker for sponsoring everything. And look forward to next Tuesday. And if you guys want to drive Indy cars, come out on Tuesday. It's fun racing.
All right, great win there, Craig. I say enjoy it and look forward to chatting again with you here soon.
Yep. Stay safe.
Good win, Craig.
All right, Steve. So that is our top 3 interviews there. Craig getting the win there. Steve, so any final thoughts on your end from the race tonight?
It played out, I think, pretty close to what we thought early on. I don't think Craig has anything to feel bad about, but I could definitely understand what he's saying about wanting to win one outright. Really early in the race, before he ended up being the only one that didn't take fresh tires, it looked to me like he had this thing wrapped up. I don't know if anybody was going to catch him and pass him the way he was running early on, but it was tough once he was in second, and he not only had to deal with whatever Eric was doing up there to be as fast as he was, but also to have the arrow working against him too. But I thought Craig ran a terrific race tonight, and sometimes things just work out and fall in your lap.
Yeah, I say you're exactly right. I was saying, it's like we said. I mean, it's a combination of everything. I mean, you got to have the skill, you got to have the right kind of strategy, and then you also have to have the luck at times as well. So I say he got a little bit of all 3 of those ones. I say obviously had the luck on the timing of that one caution, but obviously had the skill to hold off David Patton there and company behind him. Saying we'll kind of roll that into our final results here. You see David Patton there in second spot, only 3/10 behind our race winner Craig Forsyth. Jim Brooks in third. Chris Jabot in the 4th position. David Clare gets a top 5 in that number 50 machine. Charles Johnson 6th. Todd Merkel able to move his way up into that 7th position. Don Runkle Jr., actually, I think he's the highest climber of the race, goes from 17th to 8th, so great run for him. AJ Hobson is in 9th, and then Benjamin Combs rounds out our top 10. And the remainder of the field here, you got Bud Steele, unfortunately, with that, he had that contact with Eric Schaus. He winds up 11th. James Ledford 12th. Michael Spell got trapped down those 2 laps, and that wound up putting him in 13th. And, of course, Eric Schaus having to retire, I believe, after that spin and probably a little bit of damage left over from the contact. He finishes 14th. Dwight Plush 15th. Chris Tigg in 16th. And John Brill 17th. And I did not actually finish 18th. I didn't get to run the race. Would have been a lot of fun, but at the same time, I love being in the booth here with you, Steve. So it was a lot of fun as always. And saying Jason Bridges there in the 34 in the 19th position.
Yeah, how did you manage to finish ahead of Jason?
Well, I was sneaking on the track a little bit, and it's kind of a starting park, I guess you could say.
Okay.
No, I think it's all just based on iRating there. So that being said, though, again, really, really want to thank you all for joining us here at Green White Checker TV. It's always a pleasure, of course, to have you in the booth with me here, Steve. Obviously, also got to thank the Area 51 guys for letting me be a part of their broadcasts and be able to kind of put on display what they're able to do on track. It's a really great product. So, of course, as always, if you're interested in finding a league to race in, Tuesday nights are the Indy cars, Thursday nights are the Cup cars, and then Sunday nights the Super Speedway Cup Series are the 3 broadcasted races. And say they've got some feeder series to get into those premier series. So, of course, if you're interested, you can find them at area51iracing.com. So we will be back on Thursday night for the Cup Series. I believe I'll have Don Runkle Jr. in the booth with me that evening. If not, I'll say I always got a couple of guys that are always willing to join the booth, like Dale Knott as well. So until Thursday, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Try not to stress too much about the election. Hopefully this was a good distraction for you all as well from it. And as always, if you can, please try to stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, and have a